I think you get a sense of business naturally when you start very early on. And that's what I encourage a lot of people who are in colleges and all of these things to learn to sell, learn to deal with the real world. In India, education system is like from 8th grade, you are like locked into the room, padhai karo, padhai karo, padhai karo. You have no fucking clue how the real world works. Okay? And because you have no clue of how the real world works, you suck at a startup. Right? And fortunately, I had the exact opposite experience. Yeah. Right? I was dealing with the real world right from the age 14, 15. Right? So I may appear like a guy who's 36 now, but I think my work is a lot more than a lot of people I meet, because they got into action only at 28, 29. I was in action from 15. Right? I have dealt with real stuff. I've sold. I've made real profits. I've done enough things to keep myself alive. Right? So
don't be a geek all the time. Learn some.
No, I think just get yourself out there enough. Deal with real people. One of the things that happens in, let's say, an institute like IIT is that like you are like the 0.0001% smart audience, and everybody's like you. You don't know how the real world works and operates, right? Especially engineers, like they think everybody understands problem statements and hypotheses and arriving at things logically. Nobody understands logic most of the time, and we struggle with that, and we learn the hard way, and then chamakta acha, this is how we do things. But you can really accelerate that process. When you're in all college or early days, just fail miserably. Like try to sell something, I don't know, anything. Just get to the real world, get really pushed in the corner, fail by selling, fail by marketing, help another company, join a startup, do slavery for them if you have to. Right? And learn through that, because it's a free learning, right? Think of that as a free thing that actually somebody will pay you for that learning, right? But just don't be happy with saying मैं 9 to 5 करूँगा. I can tell you one thing, that from that time to now, I still work 16 hours a day, right? It's something that you have to do, right? Only then you have a scope of chilling at 35. So one thing I knew when this particular thing happened in the family, I just knew that I think I told myself at 16, 17 that, yaar, this is not a good life. I really will not work for money at 35. That was my like goal, and that was like something that was driving me every day. That 35 के बाद पैसे के लिए काम नहीं करेंगे.
Okay. $400 million, right?
No, I don't think you plan for that.
Cash kitna? 120 आया at least.
Doesn't matter. It's more than enough that one can imagine and pick a goal for. Yeah. I can tell you one thing, that these kind of things happen when you create these irrational goals and say, I'll achieve it no matter what, right? And a lot of things will come in your way. You will say, dude, it doesn't matter, I'll keep going. See, sometimes you'll be surprised that people say, what makes entrepreneurs successful? It's not talent. It's definitely not IQ. It's just this tenacity. Just like a guy who hits the wall every time, he's like, again excited to go into the wall. Yeah. Like, bang. Yeah. He's like excited, wow. And actually,
he enjoys suffering, like you were telling me.
Yeah, so I think
you should enjoy suffering.
No, I think
the pain that every day brings,
I believe that
the failures.
All entrepreneurs who have been successful actually are enjoying pain. Yeah. You'll be surprised that they are actually using that as the fuel. Like, I remember I after the event of Travis, I met him for dinner, and he told me a very interesting story that when Uber had a challenge in Delhi, the cops actually handled the employees really badly. I think they probably physically abused them, or
I was there. Yeah.
Or probably slapped them, or something happened. Yes. And he has made that as a fuel to be successful in India. He's like, mere employees ko thappad mara. Right? So they just make that thing and hold grudge on those things and say, this is my fuel. And they tell themselves, like, I have to win India no matter what, because mere employee ko thappad mara.
Right? It's just kuch aisa grudge. Some grudge that you
so I think you just need
some
that
incident.
So I think imagine that all of us are arrows, right? But arrows are a function of how much you have had as a draw, right? Sometimes circumstances give you the draw. let's say, forced poverty or a forced family situation. I was reading about this guy, Frank Abagnale, who was the guy who in Catch Me If You Can. It was forced divorce of the parents that he was not prepared for. These are the draws, and then the arrows become crazy, right? So a lot of times we don't have these crazy triggers. I know one unicorn founder whose dad was an alcoholic, and that actually triggered him to do better in life and just go crazy. Sometimes we are gifted with these situations, and I'm calling the word gifted because it can give you the power to succeed at disproportionate level. Sometimes you have to create for yourself.